It's actually kind of familiar down here now, right? You come down enough training at ATT?
Yeah, it's my home, man. I'm right down the street. We train here, so it's great.
Good deal. Hey, so I've heard a lot of people go with the angle of, hey, you're juggling the wrestling and the MMA. Have you ever told anyone, I make a lot of money wrestling, and it's just like any other job?
Yeah, I try to explain to people that it's not the same as it was before. And WWE was a little different because we're on the road, all the time, 250 days a year. But with TNA, they give me an opportunity to do something different. I mean, they do TVs and pay-per-views, and that's all I do. So it's 5 days a month of dedication towards my wrestling, and 25 days a month for training.
Right.
So if I can do 5 days a month and get paid for a full-time job so that I can travel to Florida and train down here, because I live in Denver, travel here, stay in hotels, get rental cars and all my meals and everything like that, those are paying my bills. So it's kind of it's taking care of my MMA training.
And I think people lose sight of the fact that it's real life and that these things cost money.
Of course, man. It's not like money doesn't grow on trees, as my dad used to say.
So you're not getting $5 million for this fight, I don't think. Not yet. You're not making that kind of money yet for MMA.
$4 million, $3 million, something like that.
Well, that's a big confusion. I think you might want to find out how many mil it is. Hey, so what was it like the last couple of weeks trying to track, who you're going to fight? They're offering one guy. Were they keeping you in the loop, or was it just kind of like, hey, we're going to tell you in the end?
No, I got kind of taken out of the loop several weeks back, because they kept bringing different opponents to me, and then we'd look at them, and then it's okay, we started training for this person. And then it got to a point where my coaches, they were like, look, we'll find your opponent. When it gets there, then we'll start looking at it. But for this point, I just wanted to train, and I've been training on every aspect of the game, so regardless of who I had, I still had to train the same way. So that's what we try to do, is just forget about the opponent at this time. You just stick to training, let my manager and let my trainers decide on the opponent.
Does it matter going against a guy who's 6'9" or 6'10"?
Yeah, it does. It's a little bit different. Throw some knees in there from time to time. Tall guy, longer reach. I mean, there's little things that you got to look at for size advantage, but in the grand scheme of things, is the same game plan. Go out there, stay aggressive, and take them out.
I was going to say, if you're trying to take him down, bigger target too to take down.
Of course, and I like to take people down, so that's a good option.
Hey, so I know Yahoo did a piece kind of talking about Brock Lesnar, and the reference has been made, the comparison with you and Brock many times over. But I wanted to go with this angle, the technical part of what Brock does, because I know everyone looks at the size and the background and they're like, oh, it's going to be the same thing. But of all the guys out there, do you kind of have an appreciation for what Brock is doing from the technical side of things, not just using raw power?
Of course, I do. And if you don't, it's kind of it's ludicrous if you're not actually looking at what Brock is doing, because being a big guy is one aspect of the game. I think when you get in the cage, you have to use whatever tools you have. If you're a great jiu-jitsu practitioner, you want to take the guy down and use your jiu-jitsu. If you're a boxer, you want to use that. Brock is a big, strong guy, and he's a wrestler. So he's using all of his tools, and he's using them to the best of his ability, and the best of his ability is winning a UFC title. So you have to appreciate what the guy has. His martial art is wrestling, and he's using everything to beat some of the greatest fighters out there. I mean, Frank Mir is not no slouch. He's a great fighter, and Brock really had a great match against him, so people have to take that into consideration also.
Well, and you can see the difference. Fight number one, he gets him on the ground, and he's in full guard, but he's just rushing the whole thing. Yeah. Fight two, he takes his time, decides half guard's the way to go, and I mean just the leverage and everything, and throwing heavy hands this time.
Oh yeah, he learned a lot, and that's the thing. I mean, the guy went from 4 fights into it and looking at a title shot and a heavy title shot, so you have to really appreciate him for that.
So one of the things I found interesting talking wrestling and MMA, you were kind of angry after the Guida fight, and you made the statement, hey, this is not a joke. You're not going to clown me. Why is it different? Why can't guys bring the kind of the entertainment aspect, especially in the pre-fight, and talk trash? That really upset you.
Yeah, it did. It did that fight, but I think that if they want to do it, they can continue to do it. It's not a problem for me. Yeah. I looked at it a different way. I wanted to really disconnect myself from that. Even though I'm wrestling and fighting on this side, I wanted to make a huge disconnect. Like, I didn't want the people when I get into a fight with somebody start cutting promos and acting like this is fun and this is a joke, because I take this really seriously. And it got into my head that time, and I had a bad fight. I had a really bad fight. I wish I could erase that out of the book, but in the same token, my coaches were saying, that's a bad fight, but it's a good fight for us because we have 15 minutes of tape. My first fight was 40-something seconds, and another fight was 26 seconds. Bob Sapp was 3 minutes. That's not enough to look at. This fight, 15 minutes, we had 15 minutes of looking, saying, okay, this is where you should have passed his guard. This is where you should have stayed here. This is where you should have extended. You should have had your hand up. You should have been moving this way. We had a lot of stuff to work on, and that fight was the best thing that I had in my career, especially that early on.
Final thing to mention, Brock just came back, or he's on his way back now from this, serious intestinal disorder, a perforation in his intestine. One of the angles that people are going with, at least I know one blogger who's doing it, is, hey, there's got to be a reason to explain this. It's steroids. As a gigantic dude who's been in wrestling, can you understand the plight of Brock always being connected to that? And even when he gets a serious ailment, people are like, well, something shady must have happened.
You can't win for losing for being Brock, He's winning. They just want to say something negative about him. There's going to be people that are sitting on the internet that are going to say, oh, there's something wrong with what he's doing. Brock is fighting. He gets tested. He gets with everyone else, man. The guy's doing the best that he can. He's actually winning titles. He's the #1 heavyweight out there in the UFC, and they still have something negative to say about him. Regardless of what he does, they're going to say bad things. I think it's completely ridiculous that whoever's doing the blogging and saying that about him. They start blogging and appreciate the thing that he's been doing so far for the sport, bringing huge ratings to whatever show he's on, and winning and beating formidable opponents.
Everyone hates Goliath.
Yeah, everybody hates Goliaths, and everybody hates somebody that wins.